purification. That was to the Romans.
Yeah.
They right
They
in the
were
heart
in
of
the
all
heart
the,
of-
all
yeah.
the shit that was
Yeah,
going on in Rome.
that's the kingdom that was ruling at the time.
Yeah.
So they were pushing out all kinds of blasphemies and
That was the America back then.
ideology. It was pretty much
With
the America.
It was about pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all about pleasure back then.
Yep, and decadence, just like here. And distraction, right?
Yeah.
It says, but put ye on the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, and make not provisions for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. You know, you have to, you can't put on lust, man, for your flesh. You have to put on wisdom for your spirit.
Yeah.
And that should turn you on. Wisdom should turn you on in this day and age. That's the rarity in this time. Pleasing your flesh is something that's easy in this time.
Wisdom is frowned upon in this society. It's all about, you know, how many likes you got, how much money you got,
Somebody told me-
popularity, all folly, man.
Somebody told me you think you know everything. That was mad. Like I don't. I know enough. I know some, not enough, but I know a lot. But I don't think I know everything. But they was mad about that. Everything that you know, that you think you know, I know the real about it. They was mad about it. Anyway, yeah, let me read this right quick. 2nd Ezra chapter 8, verse 50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter times shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. So once you hear the prophets warn you about this day, you're not supposed to continue on doing it. You're supposed to change and start trying to put on that armor of light and come out of that darkness. The reason you don't after you hear the prophets is because you have great pride on you. And we already talked about the judgment that comes if you don't be chosen because you humbled yourself to correct yourself. Okay? And then I got one more about Rashad. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 1.
That's the spirit. I was,
Yeah,
where I was
you can
at.
put it.
No, go ahead.
It says, but of the times
Read
and
all
of
the
the
way down to like
going
7.
Yeah, I was gonna go to 8. Count.
8, yeah.
Count. It says, but of the times and of the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. Why? Because the prophets have already know what time it is, and we've been warning you for years about what time we're living in and what you need to do to prepare yourself. We didn't say go stock up canned goods and bottles of water and money and put it underground. We're telling you to be wise and get your spirit right. So then your spirit in its righteous state, or closest to its righteous state as it can be, will guide you to what you need to do through the flesh, or in your natural body.
Was that Sirach 2? It says, set your heart aright,
Yep. Constantly
constantly endure,
Yep.
and make not haste in the time of trouble.
That's right.
You know, prepare yourself, man.
To get your mind right. Get your spirit right.
Yeah. Right now is the time to, examine yourself, whether you be in the faith. Make sure that your behavior has come of the gospel. Basically, we're adorning ourselves for the bridegroom.
Hey, a lot of us need to put these 50 garments in the washing machine, man. And this is the washing machine. Okay? This is what you need to really go down to the creek and scrub it on a rock, man. And get this right
and they used to,
in the water.
Bad, so what is it?
Yeah, one of them things, bro.
they used to beat the
work
clothes too, man.
Yeah, man. And you gotta take that. You gotta deal with that, and it's hard work to get that out.
That's enduring.
Yep.
It's a purifier.
That's right.
The hell that we catch the affliction as part of the purification.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting cleansed right now, man.
Yep.
You know? Because the Lord's getting ready to present you as a clean, chaste virgin.
Yeah. Like
Hey, how many of you niggas like? How many of you? I'm not gonna say how many of you niggas. Right? How many of you people out there gonna go to the club without taking a shower first or putting on clean clothes?
Or the woman.
Yeah, or
Especially the
exactly.
women.
Exactly. Nobody gonna want to deal with you if you ain't clean.
Hey, she gonna make sure she gonna stay in that mirror.
Yep.
She gonna for hours, putting on
Makeup and
Face paint.
adorning
make herself
just to
fair.
take a shower and get fresh is gonna take about an hour and a half.
bro.
And then everything else, man, that shit is.
And when you look up that word adorning, the Greek word is cosmeo.
Yeah,
You get the word cosmetics from.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're basically we're adorning ourselves
Yeah.
for that day, you know.
We're not putting on a mask. We're not changing the way we look. When they say strip you and make you bare, talking about the woman, right? We're doing that. We're stripping ourselves down to the purest form to make us presentable in our purest form to the Heavenly Father. Getting our spirits clean. Okay? This flesh is not going to go anyway, but our spirits got to be clean to make it.
Yep. And we present our body as a living sacrifice.
Yep.
We know that any sacrifice, any animal that has blemishes, is not acceptable. You know. So basically, we're to be blameless upon you know the presentation of the Lord.
Let me get this to go with you see. It's Revelation 7 and 13. And one of the elders answered me, saying, "What are these? What are these which are arrayed in white robes? And whence came they?"
Why are they white? Because they're clean. You don't say that, right?
And I said unto him, "Sir, thou knowest." And he said to me, "These are they which came out of great tribulation."
Hey, what did he say? Our righteousness, us trying to do this, is as filthy rags. So we're wearing tattered, filthy rags, but he's gonna count them as
That's the spirit. The next
that's
verse.
what it says, my bad.
These are they.
Somebody get Daniel 12 and 10.
These are they which came out of great tribulation and have washed their robes and made them white with the blood of the Lamb.
How you make something white with blood? You know?
Yeah.
Because his sacrifice of him taking that
Taking that burden.
him being that sacrifice
It's
for
a
us to
sacrificial
bring
lamb,
us
yeah.
back to the Heavenly Father to be clean again. Okay?
That's why there's no condemnation to them that are in Yahushua.
Right.
All right? He purged us with that hyssop. You know? He purged us, man, with his blood. But back then, you know, when we offered up, when the priests had to go into the Holy of Holies to offer sacrifice unto the Lord, they had to make sure they were pure. They had to purge, they had to wash themselves with water and hyssop soap, you know? Because they had to make sure they presented the sacrifice while they were pure and clean, man.
Right. Which probably meant they can't be with their wives, they can't do certain things, you couldn't slaughter no animals or whatever right before that. You know, you have to be completely, basically pure leading into that.
Revelation 14 and 3, read down. And they sung, as it were, a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders.
You said a new song? That's it. And we're speaking that new song right now. These words of truth, these words of prophecy. That's that new song that we sing. Go ahead, bro.
And before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth.
And that's the what? That's the secrets, the mysteries of the kingdom. Only the elect are going to be the ones that can break this thing down.
They had that eye salve.
Yeah. Go ahead.
These are they which are not defiled with women.
Meaning what? They have not been penetrated by these different philosophies.
Right.
That goes against the gospel. Okay? You're not going to catch the elect worshiping in a Islamic mosque, you know, or in a Catholic church, man, praying with their hands together and shit, or rosary beads.
You know, Buddhist temple or none of that shit.
They ain't gonna be on none of that shit. That Kemet, Egyptology, 5%, all that crap. The elect, the Most High kept them separate from that, man. Keep them pure from that.
Those philosophies can't penetrate the elect.
For they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto Yahweh and unto the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of Yahweh.
That's it. So they're going to be presented, you know, to the bridegroom as chaste virgins, as pure. All right, you got the parable of the 10 virgins.
Yep.
5 were wise and 5 were foolish. The ones that are wise are the ones that went and trimmed their lamps, meaning they went and got themselves prepared and ready.
Yep.
All right? They took this understanding and they grew with it. They did what the Lord told them to do with it. They flipped their talents, you know. They gave diligence to give the calling of their election sure. They abounded in the knowledge of Yahweh Shai,
Yeah, I'll tell you how to put that right now.
you know. They followed, they hearkened into the instruction, man. They walked, basically they walked in the spirit, man. Okay? That's the 144,000. They're
Right.
blameless in the eyes of the Lord, man. So those are the men that's going to be preserved through that tribulation. That's why John saw that vision of them with the white robes on. Because the Lord basically is going to preserve them through the tribulation. When all hell breaks loose, the men are going to be safe, man. That's why the Lord said, he that keepeth the word of my patience, I will keep them from the hour of temptation. Meaning he's going to preserve you. He's going to find a way for you to escape through it. And that's how you're going to come out of tribulation. But you're going to go through the purification. You're going to go through the fiery furnace, man, of affliction.
Okay.
And that's why I had a brother get Daniel 12, if somebody has it. Daniel 12 and 10.
I got it. Yep. You got it, bro?
This is Daniel chapter 12 and verse 10. Many shall be purified and made white and
Made
tried.
white, meaning pure. White doesn't mean a damn cracker, man.
Okay.
Esau took that and placed that upon himself. That was witchcraft that he did. You know? To hide from his true identity.
But how did he tell that lie? He called you black,
Yeah.
or he called you brown or
It's the
something.
complete opposite of white, of complete opposite of pure.
Hey, that's the example of him calling good evil and evil good.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
How are you the wicked, but you're gonna call yourself pure and righteous?
Okay.
Clean.
You ain't. If you wicked, you ain't white.
Okay.
Filthy. And he had the filthy lifestyle too. That's a lot. And that filthy lifestyle being under his, what it said, as is the ruler shall be the people,
Yeah.
we picked up that filth from this man. Okay? That's why we have our own filth, but we picked up his filth as well.
Okay. And that's why I say deeds surpass the deeds of the wicked.
Our deeds surpassed the deeds of the wicked. We perfected his wickedness. You don't know how to do wicked. We show you how to do wicked. That's the mindset of our people. We perfect wickedness. All right? And a lot of you people are still in that, but the elect is going to be purified and made white, man. Going to come out of that, going to repent, and the Lord is going to cleanse them, man. Lord, we all one of those. You got it, bro.
Daniel chapter 12 and verse 10. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand.
And that's why it says in Ecclesiasticus was that 39 and 24. His ways are plain unto the holy, but they are stumbling blocks unto the wicked. Which really the Most High has it to where everybody that's wicked, the Lord gave them over to a reprobate mind so that they can't get this wisdom, because the wisdom will not dwell in a malicious soul.
Right.
Okay? If you got a reprobate mind, that means you're gonna speak. You gonna just say whatever comes to your wicked heart,
Everything
man.
you say is going to be contrary to the scriptures, to the knowledge and wisdom of Yahweh Shema Shai.
And that's why Esau, he has no problem saying all type of shit against the word, man.
What I said, the tongue is a little member, but it speaks, I forgot, like life and
Yeah.
death.
Life and the power of the tongue.
Yeah, life
Yeah.
and death are in the power of the tongue. Well, this man speaks death. Okay, and what are we out here trying to, those elect that are trying to, are going to be purified and made white, what are they speaking? They're speaking life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was yeah.
And none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand.
Which is the elect. The servants, the prophets, man. They're gonna understand. The wise are the people that's gonna comprehend, this wisdom, man. So those are the same men that you're gonna see of the 144,000, okay, presented as a chaste virgin, man. pure. You know, with no guile found in their mouth. Because all they're going to be speaking is thus saith the Lord. They're going to be speaking the word, man. They're not going to be handling the word of the Most High deceitfully. They're not going to be adding to the word, taking away from it. They're just going to be breaking it down to you, man.
What did Lucas say?
Come on.
Let me get this. 2nd Ezra chapter 2 and verse 40. Take thy number, O Zion, and shut up those of thine that are clothed in white, which have fulfilled the law of the Lord. The number of the city, the number of thy children whom thou longest for is fulfilled. Beseech the power of the Lord, that thy people which have been called from the beginning may be hallowed.
Read that part again, brother.
The last part?
Yeah.
The number of thy children whom thou longest for is fulfilled. Beseech the power of the Lord, that thy people which have been called from the beginning may be hallowed.
Woo! Man. That he called from the beginning that they may be hallowed. Meaning what? Sanctified, holy. Separate. What did the Lord tell Jeremiah? Somebody get Jeremiah 1 and 5.
It's Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee.
Meaning you was already called before you even entered into your mother's womb, man. His spirit was known before the foundation of the world. He was called to do that very purpose, man.
And he was a young man. So he was called early. Like, you know, when brothers come into this truth, some brothers may be a little older. Jeremiah was young. So he had no choice.
Hey, really, you think about it, all the servants, the prophets of the Lord, they were born of the Spirit. Just like Yahweh Shai was born of the Spirit. You know? Hey, cause
that's the Spirit. Cause remember when John was in his mother's belly and he kicked when
he left in her womb.
When the Messiah was in
Mary walked in and nobody knew she was even pregnant then, but he knew.
He knew. The Spirit John knew.
That's right. Hey, real quick. Some of the men that were born like that, if you notice, if I'm not mistaken, I know Mary was barren, but somebody else was barren. But then the Lord allowed for her to conceive, and she had a special child. Samuel's mother.
I was gonna say
Hannah. She was. If you notice, certain men of the Lord, it was the Holy Spirit that had to give them that special birth because the Lord had to open up their womb because there was something special that was going on. Rebecca. Was it Rachel that had Joseph?
Rachel had.
No. It wasn't Rachel that had Joseph. Who was that? Who had Joseph?
It was Joseph and Benjamin. Rachel. That's the two that she had.
Let's double check.
29 and 30, Genesis.
Sarah, right? She was barren.
Yeah, Sarah was barren. Yeah.
But you see who's these big mothers, big names.
All these women that experienced that a special child was born that came out of that, man.
29 and 30. Yeah, come.
So you're right, bro. You're right. Go ahead.
Read it. This is Genesis 29 verse 30. And he went in also unto Rachel.
Because I was thinking about Ephraim or Manasseh. Their mother was an Egyptian woman. All right, so Slakia. So yeah, Joseph came out of Rachel, but what was wrong with Rachel? She was barren. That's why Leah was popping out all those babies.
Stunt on her. I hate to say it like that, but she was.
But even though Judah is the head, that was the main line that the Messiah was going to come through, the chosen, the head, a tribe of Israel. But Rachel, she had a special child because Joseph went on to become what? He was a prophet. He was a prophet. The Holy Spirit was on him. So hey, he was called from the womb to basically delivered Israel during the time of the famine.
Because he was so
And he was the reason why Israel ended up in Egypt. You see that?
Yeah, because he broke that dream down.
God.
He broke that dream down.
He was a prophet.
Yeah.
So, hey, all these different men, that's what they have in common, man. They were all sanctified from the womb, man. They all were sanctified from the womb. That's why the Lord said it in the law. All the firstborn that come up out the womb, sanctify them for me. You know. So go back.
Jeremiah.
Yeah, go to Jeremiah.
Jeremiah 1:5 again. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou comest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee and ordained thee a prophet unto the nations.
Man,
It was ordained before the earth was created.
that's it.
I got a pretty for that.
So it's not those men back today. And the Lord made sure that we were all born where, you know, because we could have been messed up. We could have been born crack babies. If we was born during the crack era, we could have came out a crack baby. If you was born in the the 90s, same thing. You know, but you actually made it through, and the Lord is dealing with you. You could have been one of or you could have never made it.
Yeah.
Your mom could have took contraception, or she could have went to Planned Parenthood and got you aborted.
Could have been a stillborn.
Could have been a stillborn. But the Lord's not going to allow that for his elect, man. Because every brother that's of the elect will call, you know, from the womb, man.
I got a pretty quick one. It's Galatians 1:15. But when it pleased the Most High, who separated me from my mother's womb and called me by his grace to reveal his Son in me, that I might preach him among the heathen, immediately I conferred not with my flesh and blood.
Yeah. That's straight to the point, man. You know? Somebody get Sirach 36.
Hebrews 12:23. To the general assembly and church of the firstborn, which are written in heaven, and to Yahweh, the judge of all, and to the spirits of just men made perfect.
Read that again.
To the general assembly and to the church of the firstborn, which are written in heaven, and to Yahweh, the judge of all, and to the spirits of just men made perfect.
Man, the church of the firstborn, man. You know, those are all the souls that were called from the beginning, man. Remember, Yahweh Shai, he was going back in the beginning. And then Yahweh Shai basically, by way of the Most High, selected his chosen. So all those men, they're all going to be born to serve Yahweh Shai. They're going to, whatever they aspire to do, whatever aspirations they had in life, the Lord immediately will call them from that to come and do this. You know, like Jonah. Jonah, he didn't know why he was born to do what he did. He was trying to get away from that occupation. You know, he didn't understand his purpose. He didn't know that you was born specifically for this reason. This is why you're alive. This is what you were preordained to.
Can I make a quick analogy? Some people say LeBron James was built to play, birthed to play basketball, right? He was groomed and raised up to play basketball. Well, the men of the Lord was, well, every experience that you ever had, if you was called into this thing, Lord willing, chosen also, everything in your life led to this one moment. So when you wonder how come I couldn't make it and have these things and do these things, it was all for this purpose, to keep you humble to accept this word.
I'm pretty sure every man of the Lord that's in this truth, they always had that question like, damn, you know, why am I here? You know, what is my purpose? And through the Spirit, you know, the Lord gave you your purpose. If you're a man of the Lord, you can understand this doctrine. This is
That's why you didn't follow through with that career.
Exactly.
You know,
or you just, you know, you got to a point where you just let that shit go. Like, man, you know, I ain't gonna be no.
Yeah, you might
because
have been tried.
this overtakes you, and this becomes your life.
Yeah.
You know, that's what happens, man.
And when you come to grips that like Jonah, prime example, that this is what your life is all about. This is giving you all the answers that you've always wanted to know in your spirit. That this is what you was called to do, the purpose of your life. You're willing to drop everything for it. Like the first two fishermen that Yahushua called. They dropped their nets straight away. A good profession in that time. Dropped the nets straight away and followed them.
Peter and Andrew.
Yep. Y'all got it.
You want me to start up, bro? Where it says, somebody bless you?
No, I said Sirach 36.
36. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
36 and 14.
Okay. This is Sirach 36 and 14. Fill Zion with thy unspeakable oracles, and thy people with thy glory.
Okay.
Give testimony unto those that thou hast possessed from the beginning.
That thou hast what?
Possessed.
Possessed.
And that's talking about ownership.
Yeah,
not
kind.
demons on you. You know.
Not no exorcism.
Meaning
Even
I
though
called
the
you
spirit was on
and
you.
I sealed you. I put my name on you since the beginning.
And I had you in my hand.
In my hand. Well, what did Yahweh Shai say?
Yep, those that
Those
you
that
had,
that
you
thou hast
gave it to
given
me.
that are mine, and can nobody pluck them out of my hand.
That's right.
You see that?
Come on.
That thou hast possessed from the beginning, and raised up prophets that have been in thy name.
That have been in thy name, man.
Y'all keep going.
Yeah.
Reward them that wait for thee, and let thy prophets be found faithful.
And let thy prophets be found faithful, man. So that means what? They're gonna keep the sayings of the Lord. You know? They're gonna keep his sayings.
Yep.
All right? Faithful servants, man. And that means what? That they're gonna stay loyal.
Faithful.
Which a woman that stays loyal to her husband, she's chaste.
She gonna keep her legs closed.
You know?
She gonna keep her eyes single on her Lord,
Yeah.
on her man. Same thing, right?
Yeah.
You know? She gonna
Yeah.
be up there. Hey, Daddy, talking to somebody else. What you get? Is the grass greener over there? Ain't gonna be all that. You know?
Grass green and all that.
I'm just saying. That's what usually get them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man.
Go ahead.
I got a free. It's 1 Corinthians 6 and 19. What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, which is in you, which ye have of the Most High, and ye are not your own? For ye are bought with a price. Therefore glorify the Most High in your body and in your spirit, which are the Most High's.
It made me think of vessels fit for destruction, and there's another part of that scripture that goes with that.
Is it vessels for honor and vessels for dishonor?
Dishonor.
It's that, but it's another one. I think it's in 1 John 4. We know the spirit of truth and we know the spirit of error is in there. Like you were created, but the prophets and the elect were created for all the good deeds. But like you said, great tie-in. That was actually better in Romans the 9th chapter. You know, those vessels fit for honor. Hey, and some of those fit for honor, we don't always go into that. Or just the elect, not just the children of Israel as a whole. You know, not just Esau fit for dishonor. It also goes for the 2/3. Okay, they have to go through the wrath of the Most High also, and they were chosen to go through that. Okay, they were created to fulfill that role amongst the Israelites, as Esau was fit to play the role of the wicked of men upon the earth, so to speak.
That's right.
I got something,
That was it.
when I read in Hebrews 12 and 23, the firstborn, go back to Numbers chapter 3, verse 12. And I, behold, I have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel instead of all the firstborn that opened the matrix among the children of Israel. Therefore the
word matrix womb also.
It means womb, yeah.
Therefore the Levites shall be mine, because all the firstborn are mine. For on
That's the first fruits. You know, the first fruits, man. Which start with Yahweh Shai. He's the first fruit, and then you know everybody that's of Yahweh Shai, they're the first fruits. You know, hey, the grape of the cluster.
Yeah.
and through the order of Melchizedek, you know, through Yahweh Shah's blood, you know, all the men of Israel from the, not all, but you know, the elect men of Israel from you know, all 12 tribes are made, you know, priests.
Priests, yep. That makes sense because just like I mentioned how you gotta be, when you offer up sacrifice, you gotta be pure. The priests had to be clean when they went into the temple. Yahweh Shai cleansed us so we can offer up those sacrifices.
Right.
You know?
Because all the firstborn are mine, for on the day that I smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I hallowed unto me all the firstborn in Israel, both man and beast. Mine shall they be. I am the Lord.
Showing you what? That those are his possession. You know? The Lord, he's like, I call it that. That's me. What I made in the beginning, yeah, that right there, I own that. That's me. You know? I made it perfect for me. You know? And those men would be a representation for the Lord's image on the earth. You know? Being priests. Okay? You was holding, it looked like.
Nah, it's cool. It's just the priest. It's the spirit of the prophets. So
Really.
Never nothing wrong with a precept coming out, brother.
It's 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and 32. And the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets.
So so through every incarnation,
That's their
those
whole
spirits
purpose.
will the whole fulfill their purpose.
If you was a prophet in your past life, you're gonna be a prophet in this incarnation.
All the way back to those first created spirits, the Elohim.
Yeah. They help
You know?
you were always a prophet every time you came in your lot. Oh, Daniel, go back to Daniel 12, and then get like I think like the last verse.
Oh yeah, that is Daniel 12 and 12 or 13. But go thou thy way till the end, for thou shalt rest and stand in the lot at the end of the day, at the end of days, end of the days.
Stand in thy lot at the end of the
Where I
days.
chose you from the beginning to stand. Not just the beginning of this life, the beginning of all the lives when I first created your spirit. Okay? You put us back, okay, every time I want you, you're going to be a funny man, you're going to be a prophet, you're going to be a wicked, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Created everybody, in every life you're going to come back and be in that lot.
But in this case,
Right.
you know, the prophets, you know, that's a, you know, a special job to the Most High.
Special. Yeah.
Because like the brother said, you know, you know, the gladiators from, you know, back in the ancient world, they're doing entertainment now.
Yeah.
LeBron James, Floyd Mayweather, they was all, you know, athletic back in their past.
Same with the musicians. Prince was
Prince.
Mozart.
I think it's the same thing.
Mozart, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, people always say that. I feel like I was born to do this.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Shit. Well, hey.
We don't. The scriptures say you don't remember anything from your former life, but you couldn't tell me that I was gonna be doing this. You know what I mean?
It's funny, people did tell me that.
Someone told me that too.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, get out.
Catch it.
You gonna be a
Yeah.
pastor. I was like,
Man, get all right, man. Get out.
I've been at this church 2 weeks. I don't think so. 2 Sundays. I don't think so. You know, the spirit hopped on him to tell me that. You know, just quick testimony. The spirit hopped on him to tell me that, and I'm thinking in that church. And I'm like, man, next week is the All-Star game. I ain't missing this. You know, I'm watching that game. I ain't gonna be, you know, thinking that, but not realizing the spirit was on him to tell me that I was gonna be doing it in this. You know, that was for my spirit to and it was funny. Not long after that, I got baptized with the water, and I actually asked the Most High, I didn't know his name yet, to really work something in me. The truth came to me like maybe a month or two after that.
Hey, no lie. I was in the Christian church. I got baptized, all that fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
And but I knew that wasn't it.
Yeah.
You know, and I was at work and I prayed to the Father, you know. And I asked, hey, like, do you have any real true prophets? Like the prophets of the Bible, are they here? Are they back? And not long after, shit, truth came in.
Yeah, bro. Real.
So,
The
hey,
moment you came across it, you were sealed from that very moment, man. With the spirit of promise, the Holy Spirit, man. It was sealed into you, man.
It was being brought up out of you because it was in you.
It was stirred up in you.
Yeah.
You know?
Receive that breath.
Yep.
What do you got, bro?
There was
You have more?
No, that was it. That was the last verse.
Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. The thing that has been is that which shall be.
And we were just saying this, the spirit of the prophets subject unto the prophets. So what had been when we were prophets before, we come back in that same lot and we're prophets again.
And you can't natively believe that if you don't believe in reincarnation.
Kind.
If you don't believe in reincarnation, then the scripture is
Yeah, it don't mean nothing.
it doesn't mean anything.
Reincarnation is huge to understand. It's a major cornerstone, if you will,
Kind.
you know, to truly understanding what this truth is all about.
And that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun.
Yeah?
Yep.
So
Hey, the
everything-
prophets, as long as these empires outside of the kingdom of heaven is ruling, the Lord's gonna always have prophets. Every kingdom that had its run, there were prophets that were set up to prophesy the downfall of that kingdom. So there's nothing new under the sun. All right, we're in the greatest kingdom. Really, like America is like the greatest kingdom of all kingdoms that ever been set up on the earth.
Kind. Until
Outside of
kind.
the kingdom of Israel.
Kind, bro. Kind.
Okay.
Yep.
Luke chapter 1, verse 7. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began.
Yep. Since the world began, man. So hey, because you got a lot of idiots that like to say that because when the Lord said the prophecy have been roughly, what was that, Matthew 11, where it says the prophets prophesied until John.
Yeah.
They like to basically say that there's no more prophets because John, him being the greatest prophet, he was the last prophet.
He prophesied of the Lord.
First of all, it tells you that when you go back to Malachi, it tells you that he's going to send the spirit of Elijah before the coming of the dreadful
Yeah,
day
kind. Malachi.
in Malachi.
Malachi, yeah,
So
fourth.
basically, he still has to come back and prophesy. And he would do exactly what he did as John the Baptist. He would basically restore us back, to the way of our fathers, man. He would restore all things, man. You know? That's reincarnation.
Kind.
But then on top of that, see if the prophets were cut off at John, then John the Revelator,
Yeah, what was that?
that was after John
Yeah.
when he received his vision on the Isle of Patmos.
Hey, but Paul
That was after
prophesied.
John was beheaded.
And some of the men of the Lord
And then you had the
prophesied.
men in the churches that prophesied.
And Paul in Thessalonians talking about Esau being revealed. He wasn't revealed in that time. He's barely being revealed in this time. That's a prophecy. So I mean, but we know that old bull that they try to, because that's why the law's done away the Old Testament. Man, you people still believing in that BS.
With 144,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Where they at? They in the land of Israel. Where the rest of the tribes at? You know?
Where's David at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did Isaiah?
David D. Rothschild.
When
You know what
Isaiah-
I'm trying to say?
Isaiah 2 come to pass. When Isaiah 14 come to pass.
Yep.
I got some.
So So these people saying the Lord's just gonna let America do what America does.
Yeah, all this
Let
wickedness.
let the white man do what he does. There ain't no prophets to basically condemn him.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's saying this is the kingdom.
That's what they want you to believe. That's what the 2/3 gonna believe. This is the 2/3 kingdom. Because they get to rule and wicked, not rule, but they get to dwell in wickedness. They get to just be niggas
That's just
with no repercussions.
That's just another level of Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
These people over these saw the rule forever.
They love how this man is moving. I got this one.
Yeah, what I mentioned about how where they come up with this concept of there being no more prophets is in Matthew 11 and 13. Matthew 11 and 13. But after you read that, go immediately to Revelation, the 10th chapter.
This is Matthew 11 and verse 13. For all the prophets and the law prophesied.
Start up yes verses.
Verse
Like maybe 11,
11. I'm sorry.
No. Hold on.
10.
9.
Matthew 11 and 9. But what went ye out for ye to see? A prophet? Yea, I say unto you, and more than a prophet, for this is he of whom is written, behold, I send my messengers before thy face, which shall prepare thy way before thee.
Those are messengers. Messengers of prophets.
Verily I say unto you, among them that are born of woman, there have not risen a greater than John the Baptist, notwithstanding that he is least in the kingdom of heaven, is greater than he.
Go ahead.
And from the days of John the Baptist until the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force.
And who's the kingdom of heaven?
When did the kingdom of heaven suffer violence? They don't even know that shit.
The Romans were persecuting the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
Which were the men of the Lord, the disciples. Okay? The men of the Lord, man. All right, go ahead.
For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John, and if they will receive it, which is Elijah, which was for to come.
Elias is just a way to say Elijah in Greek.
Elijah.
Versus the Hebrew.
He that have ears to hear, let him hear.
So,
You understand the incarnation?
if you understand, then understand. All right? Basically, what that meant was John was the last prophet to prophesy what the Messiah must come to do. Remember, when he was baptizing at the River Jordan, he was basically rolling out the carpet for Yahweh Shai. He told you that Yahweh Shai was going to come. I'll baptize with water, but he shall come and baptize you with the Holy Spirit, man. With the water and with fire.
Whose shoes I'm not able to.
I'm not even worried
Not
about
even
losing
to-
shoes.
Yeah,
Take your shoes
Even
off.
when he baptized them, he said, "You should be baptizing me."
Yeah. So no,
Come.
your lot is to do this for me.
Yeah, and when you go to Luke 24, when Yahweh Shai was basically breaking bread with his apostles, and he basically expounded to them all things that must be fulfilled out of the law of Moses and in the Psalms and in the prophets concerning him. That's what that meant.
Yeah.
Not that John the Baptist was the last prophet. It just meant that he was the last of the prophets prophesying about what Yahweh Shai must come to fulfill in that incarnation.
In this incarnation,
Okay?
before he was sacrificed.
Yeah.
Con. But that didn't mean that John was the last prophet, man. Yep.
Revelation chapter 10, verse 9.
That's the spirit. That's what I call for.
Oh, you did.
That's it.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go
Go ahead.
Revelation 10 and 9. The point is in 11.
And Salaki, and mind you, once again, let's reiterate this. This is when he was on the Isle of Patmos. This is during the reign of Domitian Caesar. John the Baptist, he got beheaded long ago.
Herod's
at this point.
Yeah.
Herod's
Yeah,
daughter-in-law.
Herodias or Herodias?
Yeah.
Yeah, the daughter of Herodias.
Yeah, Herodias.
Put his head on the charger.
I'm starting at 7, actually. But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of the Most High should be finished, as he had declared to his servants the prophets. And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again, and said, Go take the little book which is opened in the hand of the angel, and which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, Give me the little book. And he said unto me, Take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. What's that book? So the Bible, man.
Hey, just like Ezekiel, the Lord told Ezekiel to eat the roll and then go out and prophesy.
Yeah, was the whole Bible written when John the Baptist was
On the scene?
beheaded?
Right.
Was killed? Was the whole book written? No. Still had the epistles of John. Paul. And the other apostles writing their epistles.
You had Jude, you had all those men. And then of course, you had John, which he's reading it. Right?
And I took the little book out of the angel's hand, and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. And he said unto me, Thou must prophesy again before.
Yeah, you can't go past that.
Yeah.
You got to break that
You
down.
got to rewind that back a little.
And he said,
Bro, hey, come back, rewind. Bust the rhymes and shit. Go ahead.
And he said unto me, Thou must prophesy again.
Thou must prophesy again. Now, mind you, if you know your secular and biblical history, there is no record of John ever prophesying after his exile to the Isle of Patmos. He was already well up in age. He was damn near 100 years old, or if that. He was probably about 100 years old.
It's like 90 AD. 90,
This 96 AD.
96 AD.
So he was old.
Yeah.
So
And he was born before Yahweh Shai.
Huh.
Which kind of started that clock.
So there is no account of him going back after that prison sentence on the Isle of Patmos.
After being in exile.
After being in exile, of him coming back and just prophesying to the people. Because by that point, the Christians were getting slaughtered, man. They were getting persecuted.
Yeah. They just left him on that island and basically died.
Yeah.
They wasn't, because they tried to kill him, and they couldn't kill him, so they put him in exile on the island of Patmos. It was like a salt mine,
Yeah.
I believe.
Well, hey, the brother just read the scripture. So you mean to tell me this old guy, all right, who's in prison, he's supposed to go out and prophesy again? How is that? How is he going to do that? There's only one answer to that. Regeneration. Okay, he was going to come back in his lot, like it tells you in Daniel. I will stand in my lot in the last days. Okay, so hey, John the Revelator, he's back today.
Done.
We don't know what brother that is, man. And whoever he is, he ain't gonna know he's John the Baptist.
Done.
Don't no brother know who they are, man. You know?
It'll be revealed to you in its due time.
And it's just the spirit that don't have it to where we know who they are now. Hey, cause men will be worshiping.